people keep referencing that in like today's TikToks,
it's
and I'm
so
like,
trippy.
bro,
It's heavy Big Brother energy.
Heavy Big Brother energy with.
Hey, I'm your host Alexis.
And I'm your co-host Truk.
Sit back and relax because you're
in good company.
Guys, this episode is definitely a more serious topic.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be talking about the downfall of public figures and an introspective look at how the art of today no longer reflects the times we're living in. So the reason why I really wanted to talk about this is because I've been seeing a lot of conversation online about what is currently going on in Palestine and Congo specifically, and how a lot of public figures and celebrities, while some have spoken out, which is amazing, a lot have done like content as usual, ignored it, even like deleted comments from their section that mention it. And other people are like, you know, I just want to live my day-to-day life. I don't want to be brought down with this negative energy, like what's going on. And it's like, okay, that doesn't mean it's not happening though.
Right.
So we should talk about it.
These are real world events.
Precisely.
And people are living through it, and I think it's important to kind of acknowledge what is
Definitely
happening.
important to acknowledge, and your voice can go super far. Like people who have these huge platforms, I say that for 100 subscribers.
Hey,
you know?
that's 100 people.
Honestly, thank you so much.
Oh
Can
my
I say
gosh.
shout out?
Yeah, thank
shout
you
out
for
to you
100
guys.
subscribers.
It's been so exciting to see our recent episodes get more
Yeah.
traction. So thank you so much.
Thank you, like so much.
Like truly, thank you so much.
Shout
guys.
out to our friends and family.
Shout
I
out to
definitely
everyone who's
know
been sharing and watching the
any
top
random
videos.
strangers on the internet. Hey,
Yes,
thank you.
Like, welcome to the family. Getting back into this topic, so I've also seen people talk about how art, you know how music of like the 70s and like these different times where people were doing like, they were basically protesting and talking about what was going on and the injustices, and you could see that reflected in maybe how they were dressed, how, you know, the art they were doing, the music that was even playing around you. But now, oh my goodness, I just saw this TikTok and it was like, it's so dystopian. It's so dystopian because like, why am I listening to Sexy Red on the radio
in the grocery store
talking about all this different, I'm not even saying it's kind of explicit, y'all, and
Yeah,
I don't know
it
who
is.
watches, but just talking about, you know, some vulgar things, but you know, if you like the music, you like it. But just in the times that we're currently in, it just feels really out of pocket. I even remember, do you remember when Shawn Mendes dropped that song about like the smog in New York City? And it was like,
wait, which song was that?
I don't even remember the name, but I remember he did a whole song on it. The cover art was like a picture of New York and like the yellow, cloudy.
Yes, I do remember seeing the cover art, but I never listened to the music.
Yeah, so
I had
he
no
like
idea.
dropped this whole song of what was going on, and I'm like, I'm surprised. You know, it's really because I think they know. First of all, the labels probably heavily restrict what you do unless you're
100%.
independent. And then if you're independent, you're not going to be played on the radio, especially if you're talking about war. I don't think they just don't want to play that. But it's a shame because you look back and it's going to be like,
what happened during our time?
Precisely.
Like, how do people look back on our music and kind of delve into history when we're not keeping an accurate
and not just even not even just music though, like even different celebrities and influencers who, you know, I've seen some people talk about it and mention, guys, donate here, like stream this song, do what you can. I know you feel, and I've seen that, but I've also seen a lot of people just act like it's not happening.
Yeah, completely blank on it.
Which is such a shame because even the stuff that's going on in Congo, like the phones we're using, because we have these,
from their
literally, like
materials.
because we're using these phones, not that it's our fault that, oh, we have these phones and now that's why these people are going through what they are, but people take advantage and the phones that are being made are off their labor. So it's like, guys, we need to think about this stuff.
I think it's important to recognize that it's not your fault that these big corporations are kind of exploiting, but I think it is smart of us to be conscious, like as conscious consumerism.
Your money makes a big difference.
Yeah,
all the boycotts, they're
working.
They are on a list. I know there's like an official list of companies to avoid if you want to spend your money, like you don't want to be like, I'm in support of this.
Realistically though, a lot of companies are involved,
unfortunately,
in this.
so,
and you know, if you have to do what you have to do, I am not gonna like shame you for it.
I think,
but there is a target list in like BDS Movement.
I think it's about minimizing, because the thing is, like, you can get your coffee from somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's like if it's the grocery store, well, then you gotta eat, right? But even like you don't need those shoes right now.
Yeah,
that's why thrift stores exist, guys. Like you can even get them like secondhand.
Alexis is such a thrift queen.
What can I say, guys? What can I say? I'm telling you, like, if you want to start thrifting, go at it, because I swear inflation's about to hit the thrift stores. Like, I'm convinced.
Oh no, it already has. Have you seen like what are they called? Depop girlies. Yes, Depop girlies.
Thank you.
They scare me.
Making everything more expensive than it needs to be. Oh my goodness. But no. But I just think being more
conscious, like
just be more conscious of where your money goes,
of what kind of companies that you are supporting.
Precisely, because that does reflect back on you. Like whether you like it or not, whether you feel like it doesn't make a difference or not, it does. I know everybody was freaking out over Stanley Cups. Stanley Cups did a collab with Starbucks, and all of a sudden everybody's like, I have to get it. And now Stanley Cups have like lead in them. So
I did not hear that.
Yes, so all these Stanley Cups are useless because it's leaking lead into your water.
No comments.
That's all I'm gonna say to that, guys. Let's not rush on bandwagons, like, which is a darn shame, because
I think too, as well, I think we should be conscious of what kind of information that we're consuming, and
absolutely.
hoping and making sure that it's not just people shitting on it. Maybe.
What do you mean? Explain.
So, for example, like the whole Stanley Cup with the lead thing, I had no idea. I had no idea. What's
going
on.
No, I heard about that.
But what am I trying to say?
I don't know.
I guess it's like, did you double check that?
Oh yeah, no, there was a whole video video, people explaining like the Stanley Cups and the lead, because it's just not great to drink lead.
We know that from back in 19 whatever,
it's just
18
not
whatever.
Great to drink lead, of course. It was so funny because I saw different people talking about it. I saw news sources, but I saw someone talking about like the craze of Stanley Cups and the downfall, and explaining what had happened. And it's a lawsuit, I think.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, I'm gonna look up right now. Stanley lead lawsuit, right?
I see it.
Yep, they have cementation fears. This is all coming up from like a day ago, 5 days ago. So this is really recent.
This is recent.
Yeah, girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Girl, you get your information quick, because I did not hear about this.
Yes, like 3 lawsuits have already been filed against Stanley Club. So I'm not feeding y'all misinformation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, not great. And I think that also kind of ties into consumerism, and how if you see something super popular online, that you just kind of feel this incessant need to get it, or you want it, or you're like, well, other people have it, and I don't know, it'd be nice. And I understand that. I've been there. I've done that. But also, look into where your money's going. Do research of your own. I think that's key. Like, just to do research of your own before you purchase something.
Oh my gosh, speaking of doing research on your own, Alexis kind of ate like this past weekend, because
what I do.
Yeah, no, remember? Okay, so quick story time. One of our friends, Mattia, shout out to Mattia.
Yeah, shout out to Mattia.
She was sending us this activity that she wanted to do. And she was inviting us both to it. Alexis just did a quick, simple scroll to find out.
Oh, yes. Okay, guys.
All you gotta do is look a little bit further. Yes. Alexis really stands on business here, because she scrolled a little bit down.
No, okay. This little story time. So we were thinking of all working at a summer camp. It would be really fun, right? And I was like, okay, send me the Instagram. Let me look at it. I scroll down. Their Instagram's got the comments off, like, support Israel. And I said, it's a wrap for me.
It's done. She sent us the DM, and we were like, never mind.
Yeah, I said, I'm not going to be spending my time there, but that's why you gotta be.
Yeah, shout out to Alexis, because she does her research.
No, truly, I do my research. I do my research. Okay, but moving on, Truk, here's my question for you, because as I said, I've been thinking about this. So, do you think there's an argument to be made for those who are like, I just want to make the content I make, and I don't want to be political? Because I think they always say, I don't want to be like political. I don't want to, bring people down. Like, my content is escapism, and to always be surrounded by this, like, that's no good.
I think I see where they're coming from, and it stems from the fact that they are trying to appease to the algorithm.
That is true.
And, like, if they were to kind of diverge and go into more political everyday topics, more political and harsher topics,
like less sponsors for sure.
Yeah, like they're kind of livelihood would be put on the line.
That is so true. Actually, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw an influencer talking about on a podcast, and it was like 3 of them, and he was saying basically like, I am not going to talk about things that could potentially have me lose money. And then the other 2 influencers talking were like, dude, that's like really messed up, because yeah, you could lose money, but the people that are supporting you, do you necessarily want that support if you can't even like speak truth? Like you can't speak your truth, because influencers influence those. Yeah. So if you can't even speak on what's currently going on, I think the problem is if you continue to ignore a problem, eventually it could be your community affected, and then who's going to help you out? Who's going to speak up for you? Because it's like, well, it's not my problem.
Have you seen that poem about like, oh, first they came for so and so, then they came for so and so, and now they came for me, and no one's there to help me?
Precisely. I don't know. It just really, I would hate to actively ignore people in need, and then I need help, right? And it's like, well, no one's left. No one is left to help you, because you couldn't help them. And I don't know, just being a minority in America, I know it's low-key always, it's at some point it will be my turn. It's always it's always like the undercurrent, but it's always at some point where like this could totally be me. It has been me in the past. It's been like, if you're a minority, you get it. I feel like you should understand the threat of your comfortability is always going to be, it's always there. Like, it's, it's unspoken.
There's always a silver lining. Like, you just have to be careful.
Yes, I think, here's the thing. I completely understand why you wouldn't want to be surrounded by this content, because it can be a lot.
It can be very draining. It takes a lot of mental toll incredibly, because I think about it so often.
I try to keep myself informed, but it's like, oh my gosh, the stuff that is going on is just so, it's really,
it's heartbreaking, and it's
hard to watch, and it's hard to hear about. But my biggest thing is, if we ignore the things that are going on, history simply repeats itself, and it repeats itself and repeats itself because you don't learn, you don't pay attention. It's like, if they feel comfortable enough to do what they're doing and nobody really talks about it, then all those people who died, what happens to them? Like, nobody is talking. I just can't fathom. I'm just thinking, like, that could really be my cousins, my friends, anybody I know. They could be a victim of someone taking their life, and then it's just like, well, I really want to do a haul on my beauty brand. Like, this doesn't concern me, and it's just stuff to think about. I think being a more sympathetic, having more sympathy for others is needed. I think sometimes we can feel hardened to our day-to-day lives, and I'm like, you don't have to talk about it all the time, but I think like mentioning it,
I agree with that,
posting sources, donating your money, like doing, if you have the funds to donate, even if it's like just a few dollars, like that's gonna make some type of difference.
Yeah, I agree with Alexis on this. Though, like, I don't agree with people who are completely silent on it.
Right.
I see their perspective. I don't agree with it. But I think having balance and having a healthy discussion with people is kind of what pushes the conversation forward.
Precisely.
And if you are unable to bring it up because you may feel uneducated, I feel like you're just kind of gatekeeping.
Right, because I
more
think
information that should be known about.
It does make sense to feel uneducated on a topic, but there are a lot of people who can educate you. And I think that's a big thing. There's a lot of content creators who are talking about it, who do understand what's going on. There's a lot of people who are from the backgrounds, the Palestinians, or like anything. It's like they're talking about it. Actually, you can go watch videos on exactly what is happening. So I think it's time to educate yourself and then get that perspective, because if every time someone brings it up, you're like, oh, I don't know enough, I don't know enough, I don't know. Like, with the Google, you still don't know enough? Like, it's not like you gotta go to the library and find it.
I do know, like, just to bring up conversation.
Right, on both sides.
I do understand that we live in a very capitalistic hamster wheel kind of world.
Oh, absolutely.
And people are exhausted, right?
They are.
They can't come home from work and educate themselves when they've already used all of their mental energy for the day. And I think, I don't blame them for it, but I feel like it's when these influencers kind of add in tidbits here and there, that is what allows us to be aware. I think so too,
because I think I've learned the most from people in Palestine, for sure, but also influencers telling other people's stories, like telling people's stories in Palestine,
amplifying their stories,
amplifying their voices. That's where I'm getting the most information from. And it's not like every single video on their page is this,
right?
But you know, they're mentioning it. It's coming up. They're helping bring more information to light, and I think that is key. It doesn't have to be your entire brand, but it's important to acknowledge it because it's happening.
Yes,
it is happening, and people have to live through it. So at the very least, we could give them a few minutes out of our day and say, okay,
we want to center this time for you.
Precisely. I just think
I am just on the team of not shaming people for not knowing. I think it is your personal responsibility if you want to bring it up or not, but I don't think people should be shamed for being so caught up in their own lives.
For sure. The only thing for me, I don't think people should be shamed, but I don't like people who stay purposely ignorant when they could.
Purposely ignorant is different.
Yeah, that's for me. Because I think, of course, you know, you don't know everything, but you can learn a little bit. You can learn a bit. And I think that's, you know, do you ever do current events in history class? Did they make you do that?
Yes, but I'm not a big history girl.
Okay. I'm a history buff.
I love that for you.
At least back in like high school, middle school, I really loved history, and I loved reading like dystopian books, which are not as fun to read because they low-key reflect our times.
Bro, what is it?
1984.
1984. I read that last year, and people keep referencing that in like today's TikToks,
it's
and I'm
so
like,
trippy.
bro,
it's heavy Big Brother energy.
Heavy Big Brother energy with how much your algorithm is being like censored, how much is being tracked.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Can I say a quick thing? I feel for those who maybe feel like really overwhelmed by seeing the horrors day to day. Guys, you can educate yourself in just dystopian books. Like, I'm gonna be so real. There's so many incredible books that were written based off things that they saw going on, like even the Hunger Games. Susan Collins wrote that based off like the war.
The French Revolution?
No, it was a war going on in America. Actually, I'm gonna Google it right now because I want to be right.
There was a book that was based off of the French Revolution, but I completely blanked on that.
Yeah, I remember she based it off. She was okay. What did she base this off? She was inspired by. I'm gonna have to put it in because I remember she was clicking on TV and she saw something and then she started writing the Hunger Games.
Hold on.
I think it was the Vietnam War. That's what it was.
Yes.
And then she said that Iraq War 2. She was flipping these programs. Yeah, it was one of those. So the point is, I think even the books you read can give you a lot of insight. 1984. Yeah, Fahrenheit.
Furthermore, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You know how earlier you were talking about how like arts nowadays don't really reflect that. It really does tie it back into the conversation we had earlier because the Hunger Games was
and I
2012.
think that's what's kind of really freaking me out because very least, even if we could argue, okay, influencers and people on social media aren't really talking about it, but the books that are being written are talking about it, right?
Right.
They kind of like that's like a time capsule.
It's not a direct link, but you can still see the thought process of regular everyday people during that time period.
And I'm not saying that people aren't, because I know books are probably being written or going to be published, but
they're not amplified. Also,
yeah, they're not like we're not advertising them and putting forefronts. Even they're like having book bans, which is really
the book bans are scary.
The book bans are terrifying.
Book bans are scary
because if you look at what books they're banning, it's mostly books by minorities.
Books that allow people to learn about different perspectives and different experiences in life. Like, I feel like to be a well-rounded person, you need to be able to listen to other people's experiences and kind of see why they do the things that they do.
Okay.
And if you can't read books like that, you're not going to be empathetic, really.
Yes. Okay. So you want to hear about some of the I just looked up like banned books.
Okay.
Barnes & Nobles was the first link, and they have some of them for sale because they're like, I guess, F capitalism, right? Here's some of the banned books according to Barnes & Noble, so I hope this is accurate. The Giver. 1984. Animal Farm. To Kill a Mockingbird. The Hunger Games. Fahrenheit 451. Guys, these are like really important. Even the freaking Great Gatsby. For what? Oh, The Handmaid's Tale.
I read The Handmaid's Tale back in high school.
Like,
so.
I read...
Oh my gosh. This is so bizarre to me because I remember reading it in high school.
Exactly.
I remember reading all those books in high school.
I read The Giver. I read 1984. I read Animal Farm, which is so good. Like, just read George Orwell. Like, he knows what he's talking about, y'all. And to see that these books are now trying to be banned, or some places have banned them, because, you know, libraries can vote.
Yes.
And I know...
Oh, wait.
Okay. So here's what's going on.
Educate me.
Yes, so different, like, public school districts, depending on like the leaders and the parents, they can vote to ban books in just like the school libraries.
Oh, wow.
So like on a smaller scale, which they have started to do, and you know, I guess more red states, they have been doing things like that, which is pretty scary. But yeah, it's happening. I think the idea of like books that we grew up and had to read in high school and like middle school or college maybe not being allowed, because I remember I just took a few semesters ago, I took an African American history class, and it was like from a certain time period onward, right? Mm-hmm. And she was talking about how they were trying to ban classes like that, and she says it's a very real possibility that if you have kids, this class will not be allowed, this class will not be taught, and you might be one of the last generations to even be learning about this. And I'm like, it's our own history. How can you ban my history? My entire life, I sat here and I read, you know, books through the European perspective, history books, and all of that stuff. And the time I get to actually, you know, college, I'm like, okay, I can seek out which history class I'm taking. Oh, it might not even be an option anymore.
That's heartbreaking.
No, it's actually terrifying, because this is just stuff that happened. It's not even like, they just made it up.
It's so recent. Like, it's so insane to me how recent and live this all is.
And I think the scariest thing is, because they keep saying, you gotta vote, right?
It's a lot of yelling at us, telling us to do something, but not really helping us.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing I really don't like is I feel as if they're slowly taking away rights. Because this is, I'm going to always bring it back to dystopian books, because even in The Handmaid's Tale, they slowly took women's rights away until all of a sudden they're like, whoa.
They had to normalize it first before they moved on to the next step.
Get you used to it. Get you desensitized to what's going on. Have it happen to a different group of people. It's not you. It's not affecting you. But then it slowly starts to happen to you. And it's like, I saw someone say that at some point, your place in society will not protect you. Your skin color will not protect you, because if they want to change the rules, because you're talking about how white people who came here from, like, you know, maybe they were Irish, or maybe they were just from some other place, right? They were initially seen as like lesser citizens. But of course, when they came over and things were changing and minorities were starting to overtake how many white people lived in America, they changed the definition of whiteness. So then Greek people were allowed to be white, and Irish people were allowed to be white. And it's like, okay, you're always changing what white is, who's at the top, because I think they feel like numbers protect them. It's just stuff to think about. It is really, it's so meta. I really hate to think that if I were to have kids, I'm going to be like, you know, back in my day, this is what we talked about.
Oh,
but you can't go
back in my days.
No, truly, it's the fact that my history teacher was like, yeah, I don't even know how many more years I'll be allowed to teach this class. It's like, wow, that right there,
that hurts. Like,
no, truly, because it's like, how can you
just erase a whole experience, essentially?
Truly, I don't feel like minorities would ever have the power to just be like, you know what, we are no longer learning about any of the civil wars. Wouldn't that be crazy? Take it out the history books.
Yeah, leave.
I don't want to learn about that. Actually, let's learn about the Harlem Renaissance instead. Just like, okay, that's pretty wild. I think all history should be equal. Like, we should all be.
There is a lot of history, though. I think there is.
But I think maybe schools could even take account how many. Because no, I'm not going to say it. So I'm going to say, oh, maybe if you have like kids of each demographic, they should be allowed to learn. But then, if you have like one Asian kid and like one black kid in a school full of like mostly white kids, could they not learn their history? Like, that would suck. I think taking electives is really key. Yeah, you know, you seek it out if you want it.
But that also puts the pressure on the students.
I don't like it though, because I feel like when you do learn about American history, like, black kids are like, here's slavery, okay, and here is everything else. This is your highlight. Yeah. Okay, can we learn about like any of the good stuff? I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay.
They frame it in such a tragic way where you can't even think that there are positives.
Oh my goodness, can I say, I am blanking on which state it was. I feel like it was Texas, but that could be misinformation. But some state is changing the textbooks, and they were like changing the key words. So instead of like slave, they're calling them like, I don't even know what word they were using, but they were like actively changing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna find this right now. We're gonna put it in because this was wild. It was changing the textbooks. I remember learning about this. Okay, yeah. So the Texas State Board of Education has approved. Wait, no. Changing history books, specifically. Okay, so I heard that they are changing textbooks in Texas. They're removing some history from, the curriculum. It was cited here. This is wild. The main reason for the switch was cited to be that history classes gave students much too information. The best way to make students proud of being...
what?
This is crazy. The best way to make sure students are proud of the United States is to give their developing minds as little access to historical facts as possible. What are we talking about?
That's manipulation.
What are we talking about? I remember Can I tell you? They were like, teachers, if you mentioned basically they're talking about if you mention certain topics that have to do with like slavery or like what was really going on, we will fire you. We will sue you. I heard teachers were going to get sued. So I'm going to also look that up because I don't want to talk out of my butt.
We're literally minorities are in like a toxic relationship with the United States.
Literally, get us out of it. I want to be released.
There's so much manipulation going on. Oh my gosh.
Because they were explaining that white kids learning about history were starting to feel too guilty about it. And I'm like, why not just say don't repeat the cycles? Like, they can't do anything about what happened, but they cannot continue.
Yeah. Don't shame people. That doesn't solve anything.
Can I say, I was talking to, I'm not going to say who it was because they're going to figure it out, but one of my friends was like, yeah, girl, do you remember like every Black History Month we would have like a presentation, and we had a mutual white friend, and she would always be like, I'm so sorry, guys. I feel so bad. And we're like, girl,
it's the fake tears for me.
Just don't be racist.
Yeah.
And don't, add on to it, and then I think we're gonna be good. You can't do anything about that.
You choose your actions about how you move forward with things. You know what I mean?
True.
Take responsibility and move forward. Yes. You don't have to make it weird.
It doesn't need to be like that. But I think as we start to wrap up this episode, we talked about a lot of different things.
Yeah, we yapped.
Oh my goodness, a lot of things that I'm feeling more concerned about because I feel like I pushed down. I don't want to think about how many things are slowly changing. But I want to shout out that we are going to have links and resources about Congo and Palestine and ways to help and down below. But some of the ones I just want to highlight: Operation Olive Branch for Palestine families who you can basically help. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so right now the Israeli, I guess, military forces are really zoning in on families in Palestine, and now they are needing like a lot of medical help, immigration help, so that they can go to Egypt.
Even I was gonna say like money to leave. It's very expensive right now. So any donations that we're going to put that in our bio.
You can read each family's, personal statements
and their stories.
And go from there.
We also have the Human Appeal, which is a nonprofit organization working across the globe to straighten humanity's fight against poverty, social injustice, natural disaster, all those different things. We have the Pinus Project, or is it Pinus or Pious?
I see it. I think it's
Pios. Okay, it's
because there's no N.
Apologies, Pios Project. But anyway, you can donate hygiene product to those in Palestine, which is a big thing. Big thing. And then for Congo, we have the Friends of Congo organization, works to spread awareness on what's currently happening and spread aid, embrace belief, funded by donations, so access to clean water and different resources they may need. And then we have Actions Against Hunger, an organization that focuses on ending hunger globally. It focuses a lot on the DRC and than. So, that's great. And then last but not least is Doctors Without Borders, and they provide medical access and basic needs to those who don't have a way to get it. So everything is going to be linked in our description box.
Yeah. And I know that Palestine and Congo are not the only states of oppression at the moment. So I do want to talk about like Sudan is also there, Myanmar is also there. I can't think of any other in the top of my head, but I know there's a lot more.
Isn't it so messed
and
up?
It's sad because like, bro.
Yeah.
But I just want to give acknowledgement to that as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say, I was going to say, guys, if you do want to learn more and you feel like the resources weren't enough, if you have TikTok or Google, whatever it is, and you just type in like whatever place it is and like how to help, a bunch of different things pop up. People are talking about it. People are having reliable sources if you're afraid your money is going to go to a sketchy spot. So yes, if you want to help and you feel overwhelmed by what's going on, these are small things. Educate yourself, read books, and do what you can to have conversation with others who are open to it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening.
Oh, I was going to say, guys. So I always do a song at the end, and I wanted to...
Is this appropriate?
I'm doing a song that the money...
Okay.
The money...
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Please. I'm doing a song that all the proceeds are going to help those in Palestine. So it's Open Water by TXZZ. It's a very catchy song, and if you listen to it, you're also helping out. I'm pretty sure it's like through TikTok. You listen to it, you make a video, and then the person is donating the money. So
it's through the Creators Fund. So the more that you use their content, the more they are able to profit off of it.
Yes, it's going to go to some sisters 4 and 6 that are stuck in Rafah to help pay their medical bills, and like those in Palestine in general. So I thought that was a really great thing to highlight. If just play a little song on your way to work and you feel like you're making a difference.
Yeah, so I did not prepare a TikTok for this section today.
It is so okay. You can just leave with like a piece of advice or...
Yeah, I think just be open to hearing people's experiences and, of course there may be liars online, but...
Liars is crazy.
Yeah, no, people just make
people do
stuff
lie.
up, but, move forward with empathy, take things with a grain of salt, and use your best judgment.
Of course.
But even if you're not educated right now, it's okay. You can educate yourself moving forward. It's all about how you move forward, right?
And guys, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, and I think they're trying
to making it to the end of the episode.
Yes, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. I feel like we touched on a lot of different things, but all very relevant things. Knowledge is power, and I think they're trying to take that from us. So study up, guys. Read your books, read your articles, watch your videos.
Yep.
And we will see you soon.
Bye.
And shout out to the Camp Humanities Department and shout out to Bobby. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye.